Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the first Let's Debrief of the new year. My name's Ashley.
And I'm Jenna. Happy 2024, everyone.
Happy 2024. And I bet you viewership and listeners on this episode is going to be absolutely through the roof because Jenna has been keeping a little secret.
Wait, we always, especially Cole, will say like the captions that people will post on holidays of baby announcements.
Oh, yeah. Jenna was a little naughty.
Mommies, or what will it be?
Oh, I don't know.
Like for Halloween, we'll be like, Mommy's pumpkin.
Mommy's pumpkin is growing extra large this year. Please welcome to the world, scrumdiddlyumptious Solich.
But yes, I am pregnant.
Baby
our
number
second
2, baby Solich. I feel like a lot of podcasters that we listen to like to gatekeep their due date. Do you want to be one of those people?
I'll gatekeep the exact due date, but it's in June.
Nice.
Just because, yeah, you don't really want people
hovering. Be like,
yeah.
So, still pregnant?
Yeah. Also, my due date has already changed. So I'm like, I don't know. It could change again. We don't know.
I wonder if there is anyone out here that was like, I knew it.
I think, well, I feel like maybe in the past recent episodes, maybe I've like said,
you said like even like the last episode, which we just recorded 2 seconds ago, you were like kids. And I was like, I'm sure that like if people are reading into it, it's just like, oh, like when they have kids or like having kids.
There's a lot of people who have announced that they're pregnant recently, and I'll like say congrats, and they're like, are you pregnant? And I'm like, yeah. Like I think
Yes.
a lot of people are expecting it just because I feel like we've been very open about wanting a bigger family, and I feel like if you are like wanting that, or if you like want your kids close in age, it's like around the time right now that you would be pregnant.
Like your mark for the first baby.
Yes.
Okay, well, tell us how it happened.
Well,
any tips,
Mommies.
tricks? Mommy was naughty.
Mommy's icing gun.
No, no. Oh, I'm scared.
Well, I'm not going to say how it happened.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, like, I feel like there's like a certain point where you're like, okay, like I think I'm ready for another one. Like at first, when you first have them, you're like, oh my God, I need 100. Like, you're just like
the newborn
obsessed. And like, again, of course we knew we wanted to have more, but
I can't believe we're talking about it. It actually still feels so weird.
Like, is it fake? Am I lying?
We're like, yep, this is just clickbait.
Oh God. People who do that is
terrifying.
Terrible. Wait, also I should say again before this, if this is hard for you to listen to, please
there's no shame, just click
log
it off.
Yeah. I know it's a sensitive topic for a lot of people, so please do not
because spoiler alert, this whole episode is going to be about pregnancy, and so we're not going to get into funny stories or anything, so you're not missing any meat of the episode. We're just talking about kids and babies and everything, so if that is difficult, by all means, we love you and we will see you next week.
Yes. Anyways, I feel like around like 7 or 8 months postpartum, I was like, oh, I really like, we feel like we're like ready for another one. But of course it was like, and I also want to say, like, I don't really agree now that I've had a child with like trying to plan having your family around like a lot of things. Like I think that's like, especially for wedding photographers, like really hard to like let go of control.
January and February babies.
Yes. And I feel like after having one, it's like I really realized like you can't plan your family around
a job.
Yes. And no other careers you really have to do that. But since our work is so seasonal, it feels like you have to. But so I always thought like, okay, like I'll have Monty, and then like after like when she turns 1, then like I'll get pregnant again in the winter, springish, so then I can give birth like
That
the
same
next
time.
winter, like around when she's 2, because like I have to do it around the weddings. Like I just always felt that way. But I just feel like since having her, I'm just like,
Don't care.
it's okay. Like the job is very personal and you do want to be there and you want to be the one that is there, but also it's like, again, this is like my family, and like obviously you send someone else to do it.
Yeah,
and
it's
like,
not like you're like, oh, sorry,
you
you gotta go find
edit
someone
it,
else. You
yeah.
don't get your deposit back. It's like, no.
Yes. So, but it really worked out because like our busiest month next year is actually May, which is weird. So I'm due in June. So it's perfect because June and July are pretty slow. And August also is kind of slow. Then it kind of picks back up September, October, November. So it worked out perfectly that like I'll be able to be shooting in May and like completing all of those, and then there's only a few weddings that I needed to like line someone up for. Of course, it's like I'm gonna try to go to all of them, but you just never know.
It's best to have backup. Literally,
Yes.
Jenna, when she was 9 months pregnant, like I think you had passed your due date. Was that past your due date the last wedding that you shot?
No, it was 2 days before.
Okay. And she was like, I was backup, and I was like, just say the word, and she was like, nope, I got it. I'm gonna do it.
And I was fine. I mean, I went 9 days over, so like I assume I'm gonna go over with this one too.
It's always,
you never know.
You never know. I feel like the second, like they kind of just shoot out.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm hoping.
Yeah. But so yeah,
June. Do you want to say the gender?
Yes,
Okay.
it is a boy.
A baby boy.
So that's very exciting because obviously now we have one of each, and there's no pressure.
Yeah.
Not that there ever would be pressure, but it's like, I don't know. I hate like the culture of like girl mom, boy mom, like whatever. I hate like, well, are you going to try for a boy now?
You like at 3 kids, and maybe like say they're all girls, and it's like, well, you have to go for a boy. It's like, do I?
Well, it's like, it just gives the vibe of like, I'm not happy.
I'm
with
not satisfied with
my, like,
this number,
3
yeah.
girls or whatever. Like they're not giving me enough. So, but I'm really excited, and I know Tanner's really excited about having a boy. There's also one boy on both sides of our family. Like all of the cousins on my side and Tanner's side are all girls except one.
Yeah, so you're really girl dominant.
Yes. Like Tanner's brother has 3 girls, and so we really thought it was going to be a girl. But yeah, it was a pleasant surprise that it was a boy. We did the blood test, which we did with Monty as well.
Yeah, because as we're recording, you're 14 weeks?
14. When this is released, it'll be like 16.
Yeah.
17.
I feel like I'm always a week behind. Like, I feel like time just flies. I'm like 13, and you're like, oh, I'm 15.
Yeah. I know, same, because I'm like, well, they moved my due date back. And then also, it's just, the second pregnancy is so different in so many ways.
It feels like I forget constantly that you are.
Me too.
I mean, your life, I feel like, just accommodates like pregnancy already, because it's like not like you stopped drinking or anything.
Yeah.
Like you never drink, and so it wasn't like, oh, like I have to make all these adjustments. It's like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah. It's really interesting because like the second, it's so hard, and I'm sure people who have to can relate to this, and maybe someone who is expecting their second, this will make them feel better, but it's been like really weird for me because like with Monty and anyone's first pregnancy, it's like the moment you find out, you're like, am I showing, like, you're like, do I feel
It's
something?
so
Like
everything
always?
is so new, I'm sure.
Yes, like, is this a symptom? Like, I can't have that. Like, I'm pregnant. Like, should I do that? I'm pregnant. I don't know. Like, everything is about the baby. Like, I just remember, like, just reading everything constantly, like, on Baby List, being like, ooh, what am I going to get for her? Like, everything is about
The
baby. And also, I think with the girl, we always knew her name would be Montana June. So the second we found out it was her and that I was pregnant, it was like,
Monty.
I knew her. Like, I felt so connected to her. And I was like, it's just like, I was like,
Immediate
everything
besties.
was about her.
Yeah.
Everything. But now that I have her and then I'm pregnant again, it's like I don't really have the time to like
to think about you,
sit there and like ponder like, or be like, am I showing like, and I think so many moms that have multiple feel this way. It's like I had a bump pic of like every day the last pregnancy, and then now it's like Madison will text me and be like, send me a picture of your belly, and I'm like, oh, I guess I have to take one because I literally don't have one. It's just like so different because you are so focused on the child that you need to care for that's right in front of
living,
you,
breathing, eating food 3 meals a day.
Yes, but it's also like hard because like any symptoms that you have, or like any fatigue or like nausea or anything like that, is like,
has to be put to the wayside.
Because you still have to be a mom, and like Monty still wakes up at night. So like the first trimester was really hard because I was so tired. Luckily, I have barely had any nausea, which I did a lot with her.
Do you feel like that was a tell to you before you got like the blood test?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, it's definitely really different. But they say every pregnancy is different in general, so I don't know. Yeah. But I've been like so much less nauseous, just so tired. And so like when she would wake up at night, I was just like, I can't do this. Like I can't function the next day when I'm getting up with her. And so it's just like a lot harder. And I can't imagine if I was like sick on top of it.
Yeah.
But it's a lot harder because like, again, the first pregnancy, you don't really realize how like luxurious you have it, because
you're like, oh, I'm pregnant.
You're like,
lay down.
I have to lay down and watch my show. And also I think other people treat you a little bit more special because it's like even Tanner, like obviously no slight to him, but it's like I would be laying there and be like, oh, I need water, like first pregnancy. And he's like, oh my God, I have to get it for you. But then now it's just kind of like, you got this, like you've done this before. And it's not like, you just don't have that like treatment, even from random people. Like I feel like first pregnancy, everyone's like, oh my God, like what did you feel a kick? And then this one is just like, cool. What's up?
You want a freaking medal?
It's like, well, you've done this before, and you have, and there's like comfort in that, but it's also like weird. It's just weird.
Yeah.
No, also with it being a boy, I feel like I know how it feels to have a girl. So I'm like, I don't understand how it will be.
Yeah, it is such a new dynamic has like entered.
Yes, and like Tanner's mom is always like, you won't know the difference. Like you'll feel exactly the same. And I'm like, but I don't feel like I will because it'll be a boy.
But the thing is, it's a boy.
Different because it's a boy. So we're going to have a different vibe.
Yeah. I mean, obviously like the roles go of like girls, like, I mean, they love both of their parents, but it's like, oh, mama's boy. And I feel like moms and boys like have a very special connection.
Yeah, which is very interesting because I also am like, I didn't grow up around any boys. Like I didn't have any boy cousins, like I said, like, so yeah. I can't picture like
the dynamic.
Yeah, I just can't. And I have a friend who had a girl and then she just recently had her second. It was a boy. And she's like, felt the exact same way. But then when he was born, she's like, I just understood. Like, I just got it. And like, it's like fun and new to like bond with them outside of the womb less than inside. Mm-hmm. But I also think that since I haven't had a lot of symptoms, it all just has felt really fake, honestly. Like,
you're like, was it positive?
Literally. And then like when I went and got the first ultrasound, just like confirmed that like there was a heartbeat and everything, I was like, okay, yeah, like it's real. And then like after like that day, I'm like, is it real?
Did I dream being in the room?
I went and got my like dating ultrasound, and like it was like the first one you just see a little dot and just like the little heartbeat, and then this one like it was a person, and there was like literally a head and like all the arms and legs, you could see the whole thing. I was like,
what the
so it is real? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, measuring big, so we're like gonna move your due date back. And I was like, okay, so
come 6 months from now, I will be having to give birth. Okay.
Again?
We're already here. How, like, I think, like, with, like, second pregnancy, like, too, you, like, the first time, like, you told it, maybe not everyone, but it was, like, exciting to tell people. Like, this time around, how did you find out? How did you tell Tanner, family, and stuff like that?
Well, I'm kind of a psycho. And since I knew that we were going to start trying, I always wanted to, like, just put her in the big sister shirt,
Of
like,
course,
to
a
tell
classic.
Tanner. So I ordered it a while in advance. I like
remember.
saw like a cute one that like came up on an ad, and I was like, I'm just gonna get it, just to have it for whenever is time. And I had it hidden. Anyways, so last time I was pregnant, I like waited until I missed my period to take the test, and I like was going to wait again because I was just like, I don't want it to be like a false negative early, and then I am sad,
sad.
and then I take it again or something like that. But the way that it like timed out, like the day I was going to miss my period, we were on a trip with Tanner's mom shooting a wedding.
Last time. No, sorry, this time. Yes.
Yes. We were on a trip with Tanner's mom shooting a wedding. She came with us to watch Monty while we shot the wedding. And just knowing myself, I was like, I'm going to take the test there. Like, if it's the day I miss my period, I'm going to take it. Like, I am not going to be able to wait. So I'm thinking about, like, videoing myself in the bathroom, taking it, and, like, if it's positive. And then, like, I'm like, well, am I going to tell him in front of his mom, too? Like, am I going to just wait the whole entire day and the ride home to tell him? Then I can't do the shirt because she's going to be there, which, like, I don't mind if she knew, but I would rather just me and him do it
have
first.
your moment first.
Yes. So I was like, I'm just going to take it early. And if it's a false negative, whatever. Or I might just not be pregnant. So I took it 3 days before I missed my period. I got like the early one, and it says 6 days. So I was like, okay, like we'll see.
Within that window. This is made for me.
And I've only ever taken the one that says pregnant or not pregnant.
Okay.
Because I just can't deal with like
the pluses and.
Well, and then some people will be like, is there a line? Like, is there a line? And I actually took one the month before, and I was like, is there a line? Like, I don't know. And I hated it. And so I was like, I'm just buying the one that says pregnant or not. So anyways, I took it 3 days early, and it said it. And I have a video, so I'll post it.
Oh, cute.
I'll probably post it.
I don't even know if I've seen this. She's been gatekeeping.
Maybe I'll post it on Solich.
Well, maybe at this point,
and maybe I'll put it in a highlight. We'll have posted by now.
Yeah.
I'll put it in a highlight. I'll put it on the podcast Instagram too. So
I'll post it.
You know what?
Everybody gets to post it. We'll DM it to you, and you can post it.
But then, of course, immediately I put Monty in the Big Sis sweatshirt, and me and her
Let
were
it rip.
just hanging out. I put the camera up, and then I was just like, I'm done here. And then he saw it. Cute. And I don't think he was surprised. He actually was not surprised at all. Because
when you're actively trying, it's like,
yeah,
this is the goal.
Yes. He was like, he was very sure that like this month that I was. And also, sorry if this is TMI, but like.
He's like, no, I know.
Well, he did say that. But sorry if this is TMI. From like the moment that it happened, he's like, it's a boy. Like, I just feel it. He's like, I just feel that it was a boy. I just know. And I'm like, okay. But I think he was surprised because I took the test early, and I kept telling him like, I'm just going to wait till after the wedding. So yeah, but I feel like, so last pregnancy, we waited until 14 weeks to even tell our families. Yeah. And this one, I'm like, I just was telling everyone. I do not care. I told like our families like basically the next day or like the day after. Told you guys like the next time I saw you. Basically told
I feel like everybody knew by like 6 weeks.
Literally. Because also like and to each their own, but like the whole reason that you aren't supposed to tell people is because like you could miscarry, which first of all, you could miscarry at any time. Like, of course it's more likely early on, but like, I just can't imagine like if I did and like I never told you. And then I'm like calling you and I'm like, so I was pregnant. I didn't tell you. And like all this stuff. Like I would rather like my close people just know.
That's fair. Yeah.
So yeah, I told a lot of people very early, and
we were redeemed from the last time I found out.
Yes, I told most people by putting her in the big sis shirt.
Yeah,
I think that was cute.
I knew, excuse me. I knew, like, obviously knew that they were trying. And so I was like, any day. And she texted me actually a pregnancy test that said not pregnant. Come to find out later. And I was like, oh, it's okay. Like, you still have like a few more days. Like, just try again in a few days, like, to see if like it was a false negative. And come to find out she had her sister pee on it just to throw me off.
Literally, it was so funny because she was actually going back to school that day. So I was like, I have to tell her right away. I think she was actually on her way to my house whenever I like found out, and I was like, oh, it's perfect.
Aww.
And then I was like, specifically for Ashley, I was like, can you just, but of course I'm like, I could have just looked one up online, but I was like, Ashley's too smart. She would know.
Too Snoopy.
But I knew that I had,
because I think your bathroom tile was like in the background of it. And I was like, oh. I like literally never thought for a second that it wasn't you.
I just don't want to tell you on a text. And like, since I probably just shouldn't have like said anything in the first place, like sent you the negative, because then it's like you wouldn't have really asked.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I don't know.
It really just doesn't matter.
But yeah, Jenna was like, if you haven't listened to Jenna's birth episode with Monty, because it was one of our first episodes last year.
And our most played.
And our most played on our Spotify Wrapped. It was like, this is the most popular. I was like, dang, you guys really came for the tea.
They really wanted the birth.
I found out through just a miscommunication and a mistake. It like left a little trail left in a book. And so she was like, next baby, I'm going to redeem it. And we were all together and she brought Monty downstairs and I was like, no way. I scared the crap out of Monty because I just started yelling at Jenna. I was like, no, I'm so excited. And Monty was like, why are you yelling at me?
I really wanted to tell you on the podcast.
Yeah.
I was like thinking like, okay, I would just have the test. And then when we were doing life updates, I would just show you. But then I was like, then we're going to have to like take that and like cut it out and then like restart. And I was like, what if she starts like going off about something and then we lose all that footage and like stuff like that.
That's fair.
Well, I didn't.
She'll be pregnant 5 more times for us to keep mixing it up. Yeah. Literally, I mean, I feel like at some point it becomes a text.
Yes.
Just so you know. Yeah. This is happening.
Yeah. No, I mean, even just with the second one, I'm just like, this is so much more casual than I felt the first one. The first one, like Tina and I were saying, like, I can't wait for you to experience this.
I'm so excited.
Because it's like, you feel like you're revealing the craziest thing that anyone's ever heard.
Something you don't.
Your heart is pounding. Like, I remember just like telling people and like I remember like giving our parents, like we gave them like a grandma grandpa hat, just being like I could barely breathe. I'm shaking so hard. Like,
it just feels like the most adult thing that you'll ever do. And like to tell your parents, like, I'm creating life, like it just feels so surreal.
I know. I also just feel like the first one, like we just like didn't tell anyone that we were trying. I mean, I think I told you.
Yeah. You're like, I think,
but like our parents didn't know and stuff. And my mom had said like, I thought that like it would take you guys a while because of your endo stuff. And I was like, well,
here we find ourselves.
But like, I just like, it just felt like so big. But then I feel like once you start having kids, it's like, okay, like you're probably gonna have more.
Yeah. Weren't your parents like, well, we knew you wanted a lot, so this checks out?
My parents were like, I didn't think it would be so soon, but I guess it makes sense because like you want a bigger family, which we'll have a 19-month age gap.
That's a good age gap. Lou and I are a little bit wider than that. We're 2 years and 2 weeks.
Oh.
So just a few more months. But
yeah. I feel like I am really excited. This is what everyone says, like that they'll be close in age and like they can like play together and stuff. I just like, I don't want big age gaps because like I don't, and eventually it will get to the point where the oldest and youngest like don't have the same interests. But like once they're both like even he's over 1,
Mm-hmm.
it's like we can go do stuff and you will both enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's not
And
just
I feel like they become playmates at a certain point too. So it's like hopefully like down the road it's like you entertain each other.
I feel like as soon as Monty could sit up, like she would like just kind of like play with someone with like something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that like once he can sit up, maybe like around 6-7 months, they can at least for like a little bit just like
Interact with each
interact and play something. She also is obsessed with baby dolls, so I'm like, maybe
other. I'm getting you a real baby.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I like kind of just had questions tucked away in my head. I feel like
Tucked away.
a big question people might be wondering is where do we stand
Will you
with birth?
home birth again?
Are we gonna
So
home
many.
birth or are we going to the hospice?
So many people have asked me this. I will
Maybe give a little brief recap of how first excuse me, the first was for people that maybe didn't listen to your birth episode.
So last birth, also like I should just preface in general that I was so far into the crunchy world. Like I was so like
She was deep.
I would
deep,
never
deep.
have like said fed is best. Like I was like I will only breastfeed and home birth and like this, and this. And I will say like I definitely judged people that did not think the same as me.
Mm-hmm.
People who chose to
Like,
go to the
what's
hospital.
it like to be a terrible mother?
People who chose to go to the hospital, people who chose not to breastfeed, like things like that. I was just like,
I mean,
I was so, and I think any mom can relate to this no matter where you stand. Like you think one way before reality comes to you and you're like, oh, maybe it's like with screen time, I'll never do screen time. But then like if something happens, you're like, I have to.
in like the nicest way, like this is goes for so many life things. This word just kind of has a negative connotation to it, but you're just naive. You don't know until you're in it, and you don't know until you know.
Yeah. And like I think being so like hard on like boundaries with like what I will do made it a lot harder for me because like with breastfeeding, like I said, like I just like dried up eventually. And like you can't like anticipate that. And it's like I was so much harder on myself because I was like, well, I have to breastfeed her until she's 3. And like, that's what the crunchy people do. And like, if I can't, then like I'm a failure. Mm-hmm. So anyways, through all of that, I've learned to have a much looser grip on plans in general, obviously having preferences in mind, but like whatever. So I planned a home birth with her and
It kind of came like somewhat out of necessity, I feel like, too. Like you guys
Yeah.
had moved and there aren't really close hospitals, and so it was something that you guys were prayerfully like considering and like could this be an option, and like a midwife became available, like everything really did look like okay, this like will make the most sense for us.
and it was like God wants me to do this.
Yeah.
And looking back, I feel like he did, but for different reasons than I thought. So anyways, I was in active back labor for 60 hours and then I had to go to the hospital. There was like some issues. And then my hospital experience was also horrible. And like I ended up having not a C-section. I don't know how you would say, like they pulled her out.
They didn't use forceps or anything, did they?
No. Well, they were going to. Tanner said that he had them ready to shove them in. And then a random woman came and shoved her hands in and got her.
And just like basically ripped her out, but didn't let
Yes.
her like naturally descend.
Yes. But I felt everything, which is like, I think the most traumatizing part for me, actually evaluating it, like, okay, I have to give birth again. So what was the thing that you don't want? And I think that the most traumatizing was feeling it all and like begging them to like help me. Like I came to the hospital so that I
Could get help.
don't have to feel this. And then like I just felt like I was like in this like torture chamber of like, no, we're going to use these instruments and shove things in you and do all these things, but we're not going to let you have like pain relief. I don't know why. Anyways, so I decided I will be giving birth in a hospital because my main priority is I don't want to lose my mind. Like, I don't want to be traumatized again, or I'm sure I'll feel triggered at some points, but like, I don't want to feel so trapped in pain again. And people say that like the second birth is easier. And of course, I would hope that I could deliver naturally. Oh, also, I should say, giving birth with a midwife group at a hospital.
Yeah. So it's
like a good happy medium.
And they do have because they're at a hospital, they have medicine there.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and you don't even, it's not like because like if you gave birth at like the midwife center, which is just a birthing center, it's not connected to a hospital. If you decided you wanted an epidural or if you needed medical help, you would have to transfer via ambulance to a hospital or in your car.
That sounds expensive.
But this one is like, it's in the hospital. It's like its own like area, but like they still have the capabilities there to like bring anesthesia down or like whatever needs to happen. So another thing that was really hard about birth was driving there when I was in transition.
Yeah. And that, I mean, I don't know much about the hospital that you were at, but it doesn't seem like it was well equipped for birth. Like, to drive to Pittsburgh would be an hour, but you drove 30 minutes? 30 minutes to somewhere that was not good for loving mothers.
I don't think also like now it's like, okay, yeah, it's an hour, which sucks, but it's like if I was following my app last birth, I would have went to the hospital at like 10 a.m. the first day I was in labor after 3 hours.
And they would have let you be there the whole time based on like how you were progressing.
Yeah,
that's
like
crazy.
It was like 3 to 5 minutes apart for the whole 2 days.
Oh, wow.
So like if I would have done that and like been in the hospital that whole time, like of course I had time to get there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
just probably makes for an extremely uncomfortable car ride, but you're like, it's a small price to pay.
Yes. So like I'll definitely go like earlier than I think I'll need. Like I think I would need to go. A lot of people like prefer to labor at home for as long as they can, but for me that scares me because it's like I don't know.
In the car ride last time was, I think, what you would say maybe before they pulled her out, like one of the worst parts of the entire thing.
It was so traumatizing. So yeah, I will be giving birth at the hospital, and like like I said, I did 2 ultrasounds. I'm going to be doing one more, and that was like something I didn't do at all last time and was like very against.
What's the beef with ultrasounds?
They say that like because it has radiation in it. I'm trying to think like what else is like
different.
I don't really want to give like the full details of like what I'm like looking for / not looking for and like the midwives, but they are just they seem to be very open and very like accepting of like the things that I will want, while also like having the medical capabilities nearby that I could possibly need. And I do think I'll get an epidural.
Yeah, I mean, it is like just so funny how like you hear so many different people like have different experiences. We know one girl on a podcast that we listened to that was able to deliver naturally, and she was just like, that is like my badge of honor. Like I feel so like proud of myself. But then there's other people that are like, I wanted that, but like it was way too difficult. And it's like, you truly, I think I would have been the same way as you, maybe like not as like intense, but like I've said, like birthing at home like just sounds so magical in some ways, because it's like I have access to everything that I like and I want, and so I'm like that, and like to give birth, and then it's like, okay, I'm gonna go shower and lay in bed, like that sounds very appealing. But it's like I think for like, I mean, if anybody cares, I'm not pregnant, but like for me, I'm like, oh, okay, like probably the first, like we'll go to the hospital, and then like, so once you get like a grip of like, this is what this will feel like, then it's like, okay, well now I know for number 2, if I feel like I could do this at home, like if I train my mind, and like, and obviously like I've just heard so many different people say that it truly is a battle of the mind, and like the physical, like it's happening, like there's literally nothing you can do to stop it. Like,
yeah. And I feel like, I don't know if some people's like literally are built different. But like you'll see videos of people who
Smiling
and silently like just pushing the baby out at home. And like also like there's so much that depends. Like with Monty being in a bad position, it was back labor. So like when I had belly labor, I felt like I could have done that.
Yeah.
But the back was what
I've heard back
it took me out. And it's like, well, maybe like some people just somehow they're built different, and then like the baby's in perfect position and they only have belly labor and they're like really like, I don't know. I also have always kind of struggled with not like medical anxiety. Like I've always been like the type of person that's like, oh, something's wrong. Like I get like really anxious. And so I don't know if that came out too, of like as soon as she said something's wrong, I was like,
this is bad.
I'm panicking. But like some people are just like really great. Maybe they do have pain-free birth. There's literally an account called Pain-Free Birth, and people are like, I had it. And I'm like, you know what? Good for you.
I absolutely love that for you.
Yeah.
But, like, tell me your secrets. I'll see if it works for me. If it doesn't, drug me up, baby.
I think it's like also very rare to like, a lot of people go from hospital to home. Like they do their hospital birth first and then like, okay, I'm going to do it.
I feel like I don't really know any, like just even through following people on Instagram. I know one of our friends like had a successful home birth. I don't really know a lot of people that have a successful first birth at home.
I feel like a lot of people that online are home birthing are like second, third, fourth time moms. Yeah. It's pretty rare that people choose to home birth at their first child.
It is scary too. It's like, okay, like what if something does go wrong? Like what if like they're in this position where they're like not getting it? Like there are just naturally things, like while a lot of people don't want interventions at the hospital, like sometimes it feels like it's kind of forced on you. You don't have the luxury of those interventions at home. So it's like, okay, like what do you want? The option, or we're just going to kind of roll the dice?
It's also so hard because it's like, then there's a whole other side, which is like where I kind of came from, which is like, no, your body knows what to do. Like you don't need anything. Like there's also,
you're built for this.
Yeah. Like women have been doing this for thousands of years. Like you're going to be fine. Like this is how the population of the world was like created, and like physiological birth basically, and like go in the position that feels best for you, and like just all of those things. And it's like I do still also believe that, I just like don't think that's right for me right now,
which is completely okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like maybe at like 4, 5, however many kids, like you would want to come back home, or do you think, or is it too early to say?
I honestly like, I don't think so. It just, I don't know. It was just too scary.
No, that's fair.
And I'm just like,
I feel like in the grand scheme, it was pretty like worst case scenario.
Yeah. My midwife that I hired, like for the first birth, my home birth midwife, she was also like the crunchiest crunchy. So like some midwives carry like
to check the heartbeat.
No, like they have like medical like things, but mine like didn't. So like the only thing that she had was like herbal like supplements. Like tinctures.
Oh, okay.
And she would like put it under my tongue and stuff. But like after birth, well, first I had a 4th degree tear. I think so. That's literally from your vagina to your butthole.
Love that.
I'm
terrified.
I don't know if it would have happened that bad without them pulling her out, but I do think I probably still would have torn a little bit. And like you would have had to go to the hospital to get the stitches.
Yeah, I would have ended up there anyways.
Yeah. So like she didn't have anything of that. And then like also I hemorrhaged after birth, and so they give you Pitocin to like stop the hemorrhaging. And like
I think I asked you this recently. Like what does it like thin out the blood clots? What does Pitocin actually do?
Well, it is what they give you to start labor too. So I actually think it makes the uterus contract.
Oh.
And that's like what like stops the bleeding. Okay. I think. But like they gave me Pitocin in the hospital to stop the hemorrhage, but like some midwives carry Pitocin that they could give a shot in your leg, but she didn't. So it's like, thinking back, I'm like, would I just have had to go to the hospital anyways?
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I don't know. And that would have been even worse than I have this newborn baby.
I have to leave or
And
like
now I'm
take with me.
getting in my cold car and like holding her, and I'm like bloody and like leaking.
No, that
and
sounds
it's just
awful.
like, I can't. So yes, I will be giving birth
All of that to
with a
say.
midwife, and I'm going to have my same doula.
Oh, yay. I didn't
Yeah.
know that she went to the hospital.
She doesn't, but she's going to for me.
She said, anything for you, bestie. We are trauma bonded.
Yes. So that is good.
I don't really know if I have anything else to I don't want this to be a super short episode, but I feel like that was like a big question that people ask.
Yeah.
Maybe are you guys planning on moving anytime soon now that there will be another? Because I feel like in past episodes you've like said like upping the value on the house, or like, oh, we're not going to stay here forever. Obviously we want more kids. She was pregnant the whole time. But
True.
is that like on the horizon at all?
So our plan is like once I have another baby, we would start looking for a new house
Okay.
then. So I don't know like what we'll want the spacing to be. Like maybe people who like have had 2 under 2 are like screaming at me right now like it's gonna suck.
You have no idea. They're like
You're not gonna want a third. I will say like I'm on like 2 under 2 TikTok, and like half the people are like, it's really hard at first, but then it's like gets way better. Like, and then I feel like the other half of people are like, this is great. Like I feel like this, like I follow this one mom who's like, we purposely have done like an 18-month age gap multiple times. She has 6. She's done like 2 and 2, 2 and 2, 2 and 2. Because she's just like, this is the best age gap. You're already in baby mode. Like,
yeah.
you're not like
That's getting pregnant when
switching
the
everything.
baby's 9 months old.
Yeah.
The last one. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, I don't know. And like, I also have like a friend who is pregnant with her 7th, and every single one of them is 18 months apart. And she's just like thriving and fine. I think it's like all about your mindset and everything. But,
And I feel like you hold it with open hands too. Like
Yeah.
I feel like if anything that you've learned so far, it's like, well, we want 5, but we'll see. Like
yeah. And it's like, we'll see about the age gap after this. Like, I'm very happy with this age gap, but like maybe we'll want to wait a little longer. Maybe we'll want to do it shorter. Like, I just don't know what. But yeah, the plan is like once I'm having a 3rd baby, but we are going to give Monty our room. So she'll have the big bedroom, and then hopefully we could move the baby boy into her room.
and that'll just kind of be the nursery room.
They would share a room once they're both sleeping through the night. And then we would have another room. We would have a nursery. So it's like, it wouldn't be so like, it's not going to be like a time crunch. Like, we literally can't fit. I mean, people have 3 kids in a 1-bedroom apartment sometimes. It's like, you'll
They
figure
make it
it
work.
out. But yeah, I think that'll be good. And I said in the last episode that we're like paying off the house like a lot faster. So hopefully we'll have like a bigger down payment.
Yeah, that'll
Be
come
able
out
to
of this
get
house.
something bigger.
Do you want to, which I don't think you do, but I feel like, again, I'm trying to think of questions. It's funny giving you these softball questions because I know the answers to all of them, but I'm like, what do people want to know?
What do you think?
Do you want to talk about any names?
I was going to say boy names are so much harder than girl names.
So much harder.
And there's a few names that we've had for a while. And
There isn't anything, like I think you said this in the beginning, there isn't anything like Monty. Like you weren't like, if we have a boy, it will be this.
No.
Okay.
And anyways, there's a few names that we had for a while. And then as soon as we found out we were having a boy, we are like, no,
I
don't
hate
like
all
those
them all.
names. Then
Once it becomes real, you're
Yeah.
like, this is a boy.
Yeah. Then we like came up with like another name that we like, and we were like, okay, maybe that's going to be the name. And then we went back to one of the older names because I just kept feeling like I just kept calling him that. And I'm just like, I don't know what we're going to name him. And I don't know. My sister made me feel a lot better about it because she was like, she was talking about herself, but she's like, I just don't think there will ever be a boy name that I'm obsessed with like I am with a girl name.
Yeah.
So I just have to do the best and just pick a good
strong
one.
name.
A good one, and just like that's the best that you can do. It's very hard because with girls I feel like you can be more eclectic and it's like fun. But with boys it's like this is their name. Weird.
Yeah.
Like for a boy. But it's also like I don't want to do too basic of a name.
Yeah. John.
Yeah, it feels like a waste. No offense to anyone whose kid is named John. But like it feels like a waste of like, what if this is my only boy? I'm just gonna name him John.
Yeah.
And
I feel like you got, well, there is like one particular, but I was going to say, I don't feel like you guys, especially since there's not a lot of boys in your family, like you don't really have a lot of family names either. But like obviously there is one.
Yeah. I also like, my maiden name is Collins, and I like love that name. I think it's such a good name, which I never appreciated it like when I had it. But I would love to use that for something at some point, like a middle name, even for a girl. Like I have a friend who named her daughter Collins.
I feel like I've heard. Do I know the friend? Maybe not.
It's the wife of who printed our merch.
Oh, okay. I might have known that, and I don't know. We might have been like even just at a very like a playground or something, and I heard like a little girl. Her name was Collins. I was like, whoa, that is really cute.
I think it's so cute, but like, I hate that it ends with an S and our last name starts with an S.
Collins Solich. Yeah, you do have to separate the two. Collins Solich. Collins Solich.
I know. So it's like kind of weird, but yeah, like, and it's so hard because it's like, well, now you have two, you want their names to go well together.
Mm-hmm. You want to know what my mother did? She made our initials exactly the same.
So did my mom.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess
JLC.
What's Julia's middle name?
Lee, same as me.
Oh, I didn't know you had the same middle name.
Yeah, and it's my mom's middle name too.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, I feel like when, especially since we're closer in age, like when we'd go back to school shopping, she would label everything ARE, and I'm like,
that's great.
Who is it? Hers? Is it mine?
Wait, what's Lee's middle name?
Renee.
Oh,
Alexis Renee.
It's so weird that we call her Lulu.
I know, and it's Alexis.
But yeah, that being said, we do not have a name. If anyone has a good boy name, let me know.
I've gotten on like there are some TikToks that I get that it's like vintage boy names, and I have put a few on my list that I think are really cute. But it's again, I'm like, I'm not really like obsessed. I'm like, well, that's cute.
Yeah, I'm like, this could do. Like this could be fine. I truly have never heard a boy name and been like, I love that name.
Yeah. The one at the top of my list, Cole is like very neutral on. He's like, oh, that's cute. But I have like, it was someone's last name that like I took from a show, and I was like, oh, I really like that. And that was like the first time that I was like, okay, like I feel good. Because I was like, again, not pregnant, but like I felt like very stressed out, like not having a boy like name. I was like, oh
yeah,
gosh.
I'm like, so our friends just had a baby in like early December, and they like literally they were like, yeah, we were sitting in the hospital room like googling like boy names because we just like couldn't figure out what his name was. Like she's like, we were down to 2, and then we had him, and we were like, we don't like them. And she's like, we literally were looking them up in the hospital room, and she's like, when we left the hospital, they like were like, put a name down for the birth certificate, and they were like,
it could be like Kylie Jenner and just go back and change it.
What's his name now? Air?
I think it's Air, but it was Wolf at first. And she said like after the first few weeks she was looking at him and she was just like, you are not Wolf.
And see, that's the thing that's hard if you go the unique route, is like, what if he's not that? And our friends who I was just saying about, they ended up just naming their boy their girl name.
Oh, I thought you meant like they already had a daughter and like they named her. I was like, so they have
they
2?
Named her the same name.
That's, I like, is it like a neutral?
It's pretty neutral, yeah, I would say.
Nice.
It's cute. I'll tell you after.
Okay.
But yeah, we don't have a name, and I have a name that I'm like, if I had him today, I would probably go with that because I'm like, that
we
seems
were
the best
talking
to
to Tanner
me.
about it after he went to bed last night. Of like, he said literally the word for word the exact same thing. If he was born today, this is what he would be.
Is it the same one?
I think so.
Did it start with? Yeah.
Okay.
I also will say one more thing. This gives a little hint. which is the one name is very hard because it's a family name, but then
I love and I was telling this to Tanner, I was like, I love the family name. I think you guys are so lucky to have really good family names.
Thank you.
I think the one and then your maiden name, I'm like, those are fantastic. I hate that I know you because I would use them.
Yeah, I think it's really good too. So we have another family name that we were going to use. That was like our name. Like we were like, that's what we're using. And then there was a show that came out and it was the main character's name. A very popular show. And so that kind of gave us a weird vibe. And in the show,
but also it kind of gives you like the vibe of like how people
like it.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, like how people like react and like use it and just like hearing it said in like normal context.
The reason that people like that Tanner doesn't like it is because they used a nickname that he's like, no.
Yeah.
He won't be called that.
Yeah, that's fair.
So try to guess.
Any guesses out there? Which like if you do some investigating, you could figure it out.
Yeah.
I love gatekeeping.
I know.
I love knowing everything.
Maybe we should do like a poll of like, what do you think the names are? Something fun.
That would be really fun. Do you have a middle name for the name?
I think it would be the family name.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll use it either way, I think. Pretty sure.
I like that.
Sorry to be so secretive.
They're like, everyone. I literally hate both of you.
You know what also is weird is with Monty, we announced her name when we announced her because this sounds horrible, but we knew someone else who was trying to get pregnant at the same time, and they said that Montana was their name.
And it was just a coincidence, and you were like, we've literally had this since high school.
Yeah, and so we were just like, we just need to claim it. And so we did.
And also, if another podcast we listened to was talking about this, it's like, I mean, we are like obviously really good friends, and I hope that we are friends for a very long time, but there are some fringe people that are like having babies right now, and it's like, if I like the name, I'm not gonna, who knows if I'll know you forever.
Absolutely. I know.
This is the name of my child. I'm not gonna be like, oh, well,
this person
I was gonna say, I don't know if I can say this, but we have a family member who had a baby after Cole and I got married, and they named their baby Cole.
Yeah.
And like Cole was like very much part of the family, and they were like, we've always liked the name before you guys got married. I was like, word.
Yeah, you're like, that's fair.
That's fair. At first I was kind of like, this is weird, but I'm like, I don't own the name Cole because my husband's name is Cole.
I've actually always liked the name Cole. And that's my sister's boyfriend too.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of them have come into our lives, but growing up, I would never met one Cole.
It's just such a simple name. Like, and I feel like that's kind of how boys almost need to be, is just simple.
What's Tanner's middle name?
William.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm pregnant.
Real classic. Jenna is pregnant. I mean, this isn't the announcement. You guys have posted already.
At this point, yeah.
Okay. So I think people were maybe hoping that
an episode would come. Sorry, there's like a tag on my pants and I can't get it off.
Your sweater's really cute.
Thanks, I thrifted it.
Oh, I hate you.
I also would like to say that while I haven't had a lot of like nausea or anything, I just feel like my stomach is like just not as strong. I also haven't really had any aversions or cravings or anything like that. No ice cravings, everyone.
Ice is canceled.
I've been taking my iron supplements. Don't worry. But while I have, my stomach just isn't as strong. And it's not like I like see something and I'm like, oh, I'm going to gag and throw up. That's how I felt with Monty. This time it's just like I'll eat something and then like an hour later I'll just throw up randomly. And I'll just be like, and then I'm fine. And it's just like, I'm not like nauseous during the day, but then like just randomly. I've thrown up maybe like 5 or 6 times just like that. Like I'll just be like eating something, whatever. And then like 2 hours later, I'm like, I'm definitely going to throw that up. But it's like so quick, but also I can't predict it. I had a friend that was going to come over for dinner and she was like about to leave. And I was just like, I think I'm going to throw up right now. And I was just like, I don't know if you should come or not because like I'm gonna throw up. And then I did just like throw up and laid on the bathroom floor for like an hour, and then I was like, I'm fine now.
I'm fine now.
It's so strange. It's
so strange, and there's literally no blueprint because no one has the exact same experience. Like some people throw up constantly, some people never throw up, some people are exhausted, some people feel fantastic, and it's like,
yeah, I feel like I'm finally starting to get my energy back, and Monty has been sleeping better too, which helps. But I also should say people say that you show faster with your second pregnancy, and
I feel like that's definitely true.
Really?
Yeah,
I feel like I'm not showing that at all.
I feel like, well, this is, now I feel mean, but I feel like remember I told you I've had people ask me like, is Jenna pregnant?
Yeah, but here's the thing. That was after I ate a really big meal.
Like, that's not fair.
And yeah, I don't know. I feel like
everyone also knew that you wanted more, so I'm sure like the slightest inkling, they're like,
yeah, for sure. Tell about the saying that I look tired.
Which one was that? Where was it? My birthday?
Yeah. Actually, just had someone ask if I was pregnant because I looked tired.
Yeah, they were just like, she's like, she just looks a little tired, and I was like, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna hang at New Year's Eve. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna stay up that late. I really don't.
You're gonna have to take a nap. Well, you did it for Lainey recently.
Not that late.
I know. Well, you guys got back at like 1 a.m. Did you
That's
fall asleep
true.
in the car?
No.
Wow.
But I'm gonna have to drive.
Yeah.
This time. And also, like, I'm gonna have to like be awake and like still vibing at midnight and then get in the car and leave.
I know that the minute, like, we were all going to like a party at our friend's house which I think the wife listens, so shout out to her. I think the minute the clock strikes midnight, we're gonna cheers everything. Jenna is out 5 minutes later. She's like, all right, well, we should really get going.
Yeah, except I feel like I am gonna have to DD, so I'm gonna be the buzzkill that's like, let's go.
Yeah, I am. Joe, my friend, and I haven't been drinking this year, and we both are like, oh, New Year's is gonna be so nice. Also, I've had a few people ask me, and I don't know if I've said this on the podcast. Actually, I definitely have, but like, if I plan on drinking in the new year, and I definitely like, I'm not going to like restrict myself. Like, this was a very interesting year, an eye-opening year, but I'll still like keep it limited. One thing that was extremely eye-opening is how freaking expensive alcohol is, especially when you drink it out. We went to a friend's birthday dinner the other day, and Cole got 2 drinks, nothing super fancy. It was like a nicer restaurant, and it was just not good. And he got 2 drinks, and it was the price of one of our entrees. And I was like, I hate this.
Yeah, we're going to Gaijin this week. And it's my favorite sushi restaurant. And like,
I haven't been
every time we go, we're like in the car beforehand, we're like, just water. Because one drink is the cost of literally a roll there. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, it is not worth it. Like, the one time we went with our friend, this is like before I was even pregnant with Monty, and he just kept ordering drinks. So we're like, oh, we'll order some. And like,
it quadruples your bill,
double or triple what it was before.
It's so expensive. And so like, I feel like even when I will drink, it'll be like a champagne, like open bar at a wedding, not the ones I'm working, but like attending, and like cheers of champagne, or like if we get like a bottle of champagne's so cheap, so it's like a bottle of champagne for like mimosas one morning, like something like that. I think I want to just keep a hard and fast rule of like, I just don't buy drinks out, because it's just, and we talked last week in like last week's episode about like being better with finances. I'm like, it's just stupid, and it's just not worth it. Yeah, maybe I'll keep an eye out for a happy hour where it'll be $5 drinks, but still, I'm just like, I don't care. Like, yeah, it's just not worth it.
I know. It's definitely like, if you are gonna drink, like, worth it to do it at home.
Yep. Anything else you want to say? Well, last week we just we recorded last week's episode like an hour ago. We talked for ages, and so this one might be a little bit shorter. I have no idea.
We're all talked out.
We're at on time, but anything else you want to say to everyone?
Got nothing. I feel like everyone is pregnant right now. So if you're pregnant and you want to reveal it to me, just tell me so we can be in it together.
Yes. Well, amazing. Our first episode of 2024. I'm so excited. I'm so glad it was a big one. I know that this one will be maybe your birth episode come June, but
we'll see.
Oh my gosh, what are we going to do for your maternity leave?
We're going to have to spend days recording.
We never even had to think about that because by the time we recorded some before you gave birth, and then we picked back up like after like you were a few months postpartum.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be like hard because like right now we usually like time recording either around Monty sleeping when she's napping, or like Tanner and Cole will like hang out with her and like keep her quiet.
2 is going to be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, it definitely will be.
I'm scared.
Yeah, I will say, like, with moving her into our current room, it's bigger. I do kind of have, like, a vision of moving some of the toys up there and making it, like, more of a play area. So, like, I don't know. And I'll definitely put a rocking chair in there and in the other room. So, like, I mean, that would be nice, like if they could just play up there with the kids.
It just feels like we'll have to start like batching more. It's like almost like one episode recording days. It's like that was not worth it. Like if we need to go, we need to get it done and go.
I know. Like I feel like it will have to become like I come to your house where it's silent. But
yeah, it is funny just like how
once you have a baby, what are we gonna do?
The ever-changing dynamics are just so interesting because like at the very beginning it was Buddy.
Yeah.
And then it was Buddy and Monty. And then my dogs also kind of bark when...
But Monty would like just sit here and be silent. She didn't need anything. And if she made a little sound, we would hold the bottle in her mouth. She would be quiet. And then she would just fall asleep. And we're like, oh,
she's sleeping. We can just keep talking. Oh, I can't believe... Like, I'm actually very sentimental. I guess last week's episode was 52 weeks. But I cannot believe we've been doing this for a year. I feel like that is a huge accomplishment for us.
I agree. That's like what everyone says is like, just do it for a year. Mm-hmm. And we did.
And we don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So
hell no. And we've never missed a week, which is crazy. Like I really am wondering
some weeks that have been close.
What will have to happen for us to actually miss a week and be like, sorry everyone.
Literally a loss of a file, I feel like.
Yeah, or like I'm saying like in our lives. Like if we're like, I really just can't come this week. Like it goes up tomorrow and it's like, I can't come.
Yeah, I feel like we would step in and do like a solo episode.
That's true, we would.
Yeah, like it's like, okay, well, whatever, Cole and I can do this week. Because like, yeah, there have been some where it's like, we need to record in the next few days and you're leaving out of town tomorrow. And so it's like, well, all right, solo episode.
Yeah, I do like the solo episodes, so I think they're fun. Our ones with our husbands did well. Yeah. People asked us. Yeah. Like,
I'm so grateful for this little community, and I love you guys so much. I'm like so sentimental, like because like right now, like the year hasn't fully come to a close, like when we're recording, and so I'm just like, wow, like this was so fun. This was such a fun part of my year, and I just loved doing this with you guys in this little community of special drinkers and debriefers that we created.
I know, it is so interesting. Like I just feel like people randomly will be like people I even know, and they're just like, I'm like, oh, how are you? They're like, good. I listen to the podcast, so like I know what's going on with you. And I'm like, really? You do too?
Yeah.
It feels like we have like a very solid group of like people who listen every week.
Yeah, which like our views every week, like it's so funny how they peak all over YouTube, but like so some weeks it'll be like our like holiday traditions episode got like 400 views on YouTube. I was like, wow, that was a lot. Next week 60. And it's like, but I feel like our Spotify and like stats are consistently like you have 250 like people listening every single week, and I'm like, that is a lot of people.
Yeah, if you actually picture that, I'm like, wow, thank you.
Yeah, but maybe in the new year, planning more get-togethers, planning more merch and everything, like we will do it all for you. But yeah, I always like, if you ever have anything else to add to it, I don't know if we give permission for this, but like one of our friends, like I was talking about Europe, and she texted me and was like, you should definitely do this. And I was like, oh, thanks. Like I would have literally never known that. And so if you ever have any tips, tricks, or anything else you want to add to like what we say, please.
Or if you have any suggestions of what you would like us to record.
Yes, absolutely. We need more ideas.
Yeah. All right.
Is that all?
That's all.
All right. We love you guys. We will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.